data dictionary, reporting. Then we have the module pool. Oops. So these are the major concepts that we had covered. So in this, what we have covered is a couple of projects. When we covered couple of projects, that does not mean that's the end of the story. Each topic in this can be discussed at least for next 6 months. So each topic has a vast scope to discuss, and each topic has still lot of things to do. So when you have time or when you get an opportunity, you can start working more on these things. And we have covered the basics and the most important things, and we can still get into more involved and do more other things. So reporting, as we have discussed, so all major topics of reporting, all major topics of data dictionary and module pool, we have to create complete one scenario, which is of tab strip control. So we have used the table control. So table control also, we can update the data as well. So we have a scenario in which we can update the data, that also I'll be telling you. So oops concept, we have done a couple of projects and we have done ALB. So ALB we have done the reporting as well. So let's go back to what are the projects that we have covered. So in general, you have done this project successfully. 24 you have done ALB report, and 25th is the creation of global class and consume in report program. For this, we have done a program to this we have done, and we have done this project on oops ALB. Display some data. I don't remember what exactly the table that we have used. Um, the table that we have, so let's say we have K and BK or something like that. So bank details, and using oops ALB. Then we have done the report program to display. um, this is an interactive oops ALB. Oops ALB report program to display accounts, header, and item data. This is what we have done. So actually, as per my calculation, there are somewhere around 30 projects that you have done. All of you have done, but maybe I have missed two or three. I just need to think about them, and then we have to get back. So since we were focusing more on the assignments and all, we were not able to revise these topics. I mean, like from 13th, Pawan has to start this explaining this and all. So these things we'll do it slowly, maybe for the quick recap whenever we have time. But right now we need to start with the new concept of PDC, or the conversion method. So conversion. What exactly is conversion? What are the different options that we have in conversions is what we'll discuss now. So now the fifth topic would be conversions. Now what exactly conversions does? See, what exactly data dictionary does? It stores the data, and it stores the information as well as the uh, properties of the fields. Reporting, we just bring in the data and display it on the screen. Then we have module pool. So in the module pool, we just have this screen. We design the screens and enter the data in the screens that will be stored in the backend. Object-oriented programming is something which is for the designing of the same programs with making use of the classes concept. Now, what exactly is conversions? Conversions is a concept of bringing the data from non-SAP systems to SAP. So, conversions is a concept of bringing in the data from non-SAP to SAP. Let's say you have the data in some Java system or some website, I mean HTML server, or you have it in Oracle database. You want to bring the data, so we will be using this conversions concept to bring the data. And this is not for the exchange of data. For exchange of data, means sending and receiving the data, we have another concept called the cross applications. Cross applications will be used for communicating between two systems. But here we'll focus on getting the data from non-SAP to SAP systems. In the conversions concept, we have multiple options, and we'll keep exploring each and every concept here, which is used for uploading the data. So first one is the BDC, second one is the LSMW, third one is that. In fact, the direct input method, we don't have to build any programs, nothing have to be done. SAP standard one will be used in direct input method. So let us go for, and BDC stands for batch data conversion. So we'll just discuss a basic overview of it, and then we'll proceed with the program. So we have call transaction method and session method in BDC. BDC is a program. We write a program in the normal AC80, AC38. When we execute it, the entire process begins and we'll go ahead with that. But LSMW is something which is used as a application which can be even run by the functional people. So we in LSMW they have minimized the coding. Just in one step we might have to add a code just to add the routines. Otherwise everything will be stepwise. You don't have to write the logic. So when we see this, you know, the the file handling. The file handling is basically for this one only. So for the BDC and LSMW and BAPI. So first we'll do the call transaction and uh, then we'll go for the session method. So we'll go for the call transaction method. Call transaction method is one type of concept in BDC. So I repeat what I said. Batch data conversion is a conversion concept. In that conversion concept, we have one method called call transaction and another method called session method. So once we first we'll do the call transaction method, then we'll understand the difference between call transaction and session method. Because when we do the project, you can understand later you can understand the differences very easily. So as an ABAPer, we'll first focus more on the BDC concept. So we'll be doing more of BDC programs because LSMW, if somebody wants to start a LSMW project, there'll be functional people will be starting it. And if in case like they have an issue, then we'll go ahead with it. But in some scenarios, the company itself insists us to go for the LSMW concept, the client. So at that time, we'll go with the client's decision. Now we'll go for the call transaction. Whether it is call transaction method or LSMW or any other method, direct input that it will directly update the data into database tables. But here we have a process. We'll understand the process now. So here, let's see this scenario in which here, um, right now, the file with which we'll upload the data will be the presentation server file. Okay, so let's say one individual person has the file in his system. Obviously that cannot be uploaded by other person from other system because that's actually physically stored in the presentation server file. That's your desktop or laptop. Initially we are going to handle with this type of file, but later we will be handling the application server file because in the real time most of the projects, most of the cases, we'll be having the file in the application server. We'll be having some memory space here and we'll be saving in the application server. When we store the file in the application server, that can be accessed by anyone from any of the systems. That's the first point. Second thing is that can be scheduled for a job, background job. You cannot run a background job with a presentation server file because presentation server file is very inconsistent. How can you run a session? How can you run a job when in the system with which the data is there, the file is there, is not working at all? It's switched off. Like your laptop is switched off, and the file is in your system. So how can you expect the background job to run? So to avoid that kind of issues, SAP has not allowed us to first of all go with the presentation server file in the background jobs. So we have to go for the application server file. So we are supposed to understand that application server, how to send the data from application server file to presentation and presentation server file to application. So this is the concept that we have here, which I'd be anyways covering for you once I complete one scenario on the call transaction method. So let's do with the call transaction method now. Then we'll go ahead with the file handling. So let us first understand the process of call transaction method. See, you have to see. You all know that data cannot be directly updated into database tables in standard database tables. Why is it so? Because they are all of type display and maintenance allowed with restrictions. So you have to do it through screens. Now, let's say I'll just take this. Now, let's say we have a table like LFA1. LFA1 is LFA1 actually stores vendor data. So if you see this and go to the delivery and maintenance, because it's a standard table, by default, the delivery and maintenance allowed with restrictions will be there. So if you try to enter the data here, obviously you cannot enter the data directly. So what you have to do, you have to do it through the screens. So what screens will be used for updating data in LFA1? We'll update the data, vendor data through a particular transaction code called MK01. So when you upload the data in MK01, when you upload the data in MK01 and update that, that gets loaded in the database table, which I'm going to show now. One small example. So here, let us understand the flow. So here, database table will have the data in the flat files. Okay. So flat file in the sense it might be a presentation server file or application server file. So in the first scenario, we'll be going for presentation server file, which is like you have the system, you have the file on your own system. So from there we'll upload the data. But going forward, we'll be uploading the application server file also. We'll learn how to access the application server file. From here, data has to come into your internal table. Okay. After getting the data into internal table, from there, you have to push the data into the screens, which you have seen now. So whatever screens are there. From the screens, when automatically everything gets uploaded, then the data will be loaded into DB tables. Whether it might be BDC call transaction method, whether it might be BDC session method or LSMW, mm, the process will be like this. But in LSMW, we have BAPI. So if we are using BAPI, then the data will be directly updated into database tables without screens. And direct input method also updates the data directly into the tables without screens. But here, this is a standard process. Now, first we'll pick the data from the flat file. We'll put it in the internal table in the program. Immediately we'll move it to the screens. And then from screens, we have to load the data into the database tables. This is the process. Now, the flat file to internal table, you all remember that GUI underscore download, right? So what used to happen in GUI underscore download? It used to download the data from the internal table to a flat file. So you all have done that already. So here we'll be using exactly the opposite one of that, that is GUI underscore upload function model. This enables us to load the data from the flat file into internal table. Then from the internal table to screens, if it has to come, we have to do some recording. We have to do some recording. So when we have the recording, once we have done the recording, recording is like automation of the process. What we do is first time we record everything, what we enter and everything. So we will get that field names. For example, if I give the vendor number as 1000, so the 1000 will be recorded. And now in the entire recording of the screens, what I'll do is, instead of 1000, I'll put the work area and work area field, and I'll loop that. So every time in the loop, new data will come, and that will be entered into the screens. So that is how we are going to do that. So we'll do first recording, and then we will modify the program in such a way that it gets uploaded into the screens. Once it loads into the screens and saved, by default it will go to the database. Even if you do manually, the screens, let's say in our example which we are taking right now, where we have the screens mk01. In mk01, if you load the data manually also, that gets loaded in the database table by default in the backend. Called mk01. So let's say the client requirement would be like, I need to upload the vendor details, and the client will be giving you the flat file. So if it's a vendor details we have, for the vendor details, the first thing that we have to do is we have to go ahead with the flat file that the client will be providing us. And we need to decide which transaction we need to use for uploading this. So in some cases, we'll have multiple transaction codes to upload the data, same data. So I'll come back to that. So mk01 is the transaction code which, let's say, we have considered. Now the data will be loaded in LFA1 table. So for this, what is the process that we'll follow is what we'll see now. So let me build a flat file. The flat file is not actually built by us, so it will be given by the client in the real-time process. So let's say let me first check how the configuration is done in this. Let me first give some values, and then what are the mandatory things that we have done. So let's keep this simple, guys. Like let's take only mandatory fields. Let's fill the mandatory fields only. So there'll be a lot of fields that will be have to be filled, but let's fill only the mandatory fields. I'm going to mk01, and in this we'll have this 1000 and 001, 001. So these are the default purchase ordination and account groups. These purchase ordination and account groups specific to a client, the functional people will be configuring. So we are the technical people. So we are the technical people. So the purchase ordination and account groups, new account groups have to be configured. New purchase ordinations have to be configured. All these things will be done by the functional people. And then since this is related to the management, so this will be done by SAP consultant. So similarly, if there is a screen which is related to finance, then SAP FICO consultants will be doing the configurations in the backend. So the functional team will always be doing the configurations, and if at all, if the new screens have to be developed and all these things will be done by us as an ABAP technical guy. So let's enter this. Oh, it's already existing. So let me give one more name, 1789. Just say enter. Okay, now this is not there. So we'll give some title. So title is like MS. The vendor name is something like Kiran, and search term is set something like SAP, and country is India. In fact, we can also give other values as well, the street number and all, but as of now, these are not mandatory, so we are not giving it. Whatever field has this tick mark, it's mandatory. Without this, we cannot go further. So this, what should be mandatory and what should be optional also will be decided by the functional team. Like the functional team will be given instructions of how to build it. According to that, we have to build it. In this order currency is mandatory. Order currency is mandatory here. So because the tick mark is there, so it's mandatory. So here we have successfully uploaded this 17895. So we just need to go to the SC11 transaction and we need to open that LFA1 table and check if this data has been successfully uploaded or not. Okay, this 17895 have to be there in this. 17895 have to be there here. 17895. Okay, so this is already there. Let's check that data if it's there. So if this is a Kiran data, so if you double click on that, you'll have this LFNR number, and certain values will be updated by default by the system. So those are like we have this language English is already been by default updated by the system. So certain things will be updated by the system. So the client is updated by the system. So in that way, we have certain things as updated by the system. On the address, the ADR in our we are not given that. So it's been generated by the system actually. So now what we'll do is we'll prepare a flat file with all these values. So and then see, normally in in general the client, the file will be given by the client, but according to what inputs that we are giving here, uh, we'll prepare a file. So we are giving the vendor number, title is ms dot, and name is something like, so this Kushal, and the search term is something like SAP And what else we have given? We have given the country, and we had given something else as well. Let me check that. Let's go for 94, enter. So we have the title, name, search term, country. Search term is something like with which we can see if there are vendors. If ours is a car manufacturing company, and tire manufacturing company happens to be our vendor, right? So who supplies raw material to us. So then we categorize them with based on that what they manufacture or what they supply to us. Like for example, if it's a tire manufacturing company, the search term can be kept simply as tire, something like that. So we have given this, and we have given India, and enter. The customer, okay, trading partner is something which we have to give here. Trading partner we give it as 1000. So between each field to field I'm giving tab, because tab is a separator between the two fields. So it will be easy for us to understand. The trading partner will give it as 1000, tab, industry 0001, 0001, tab, and then we have the order currency INR. Now this is a flat file, mk01 dot txt something. I'll keep it like this. Okay, so this is a flat file which I'm storing in the, let me store that in the D drive, because it will be easy for me to access. I'm saving it in D drive. Now we'll have few more records like this. Let me copy this entire row instead of typing it again. So we'll go with 1797 001 Mr. Ish, and go for 98 Miss Karthika. Okay, so when it is more than what we have the tab, so it will automatically move to the other tab. So nothing to worry. So this is how it will be. So if you see this delete and tab, so exactly it will be tab separated. So we are giving a tab between the each field to field. Now there will be various scenarios in which we'll do it, but as of now we'll do it like this. Okay. So we just have 3 records. I think that will be enough. Like let's go with 3 records because we just need to understand the concept. Let me save this. So this will be our source to upload the data. Okay, so let's say we have 1 million records, or we have 1 billion records. You cannot do it manually just like we have done now. We cannot do it manually, so we have to do some automation. The program that we are writing right now will pick the data from the flat file, show it in the internal table, then from there we'll move it into the database table. That's what we'll do now. So for this we'll go ahead with, first we'll go ahead with the recording. So, okay, so we have to first go for the recording. Recording is something for the second step, basically to get the data from the recording. We'll be doing it for getting the data from the internal table to the screens. So for that, we'll have a recording. And before the recording, let's focus on how to upload the data from the flat file to the internal table. Let's check if that is successful. The step one is uploading the data from the flat file to internal table. Let's do that now. underscore mk01 upload is what I'll do. Say okay, save. Thus we need to write the properties. We need to define types, begin of say st underscore. It can be anything. I'm giving it as mk01. You can give anything else also. So for example, like you can give when also st underscore when, because this is when data. It all depends on the naming convention of the client. Like in project, each project we follow different naming conventions. According to the naming conventions, we just need to give that. Now the question is, for LIFNR, the first field, what would be the data element? That is LIFNR only. But how do we find it is the question. So if we go to the screen and if you just type F1, okay, if you just type F1 function key or F1 sys function F1, okay, so F1, so you'll get the pop-up here. In this you'll just have this hammer technical information. So when you go to the technical information, we can see what exactly is the data element name. So this is LIF16. So LIF16 means the length is 16. So we can give this data element name as LIF16. So here, because that exact properties will come to this one as well, LIF16. Let me check what will be the properties of LIFNR. What is the length of it? Its length is 10 actually, but here we have LIF16. So let's go for LIF16. And then for the next one, the next field, we can just select this and function F1. You get this, click on the hammer and you will see the properties. It's EKORG. Data element name is EKORG. Let's go for EKORG here. EKORG, type EKORG. Then we have the third one. So the third one is where to do it for all technical information. We have this as KTOKK. So we'll go for KTOKK. Type KTOKK. Then we have title. Title is ANRAD. Type ANRAD. But we'll just check that. We'll go to the next screen. Oh, I think someone has changed the configuration in the backend. Someone is changing the configuration because now it's asking for an alphabet, at least one alphabet. Okay, then I need to change the flat file accordingly, because here, I mean, the configurations all depends on the functional consultant. I think backend some functional consultant is changing it, so we need to have an at least one alphabet. If at all, if it is configured in such a way that we need an alphabet there. Okay, so we have okay ANRAD. We just wanted to check the properties. So let me check this F1, and you'll get this hammer, and you can see that this is a title. AD underscore title X, and the AD underscore title X, this is length is 30. So let's go for that now. You can also simply write like this also. We can simply write 30. By default anyways it's character, so you can also write it like this as well. That is also one possibility. So instead of you again remembering the data elements, it's also possible that you just give the exact length. So name F1, name we have id underscore name one. Let's see the length. it's 40. So either we can write AD underscore name1 or we can write the length as 40. But make sure that the data type is character, guys. If it is not character, it will be something else that will become a problem. But it will always be a character most of the times. It's always a character. But if it's not character, that's a problem. So the 40. Okay. After this, we have search term. The search term also we need to check that. So we'll go with this. Go for SORTL. So this one. Let's check this length. So we have 20. Length is 20. So we can directly write here the length as 20. And we have country. It's a land one. It will be of length 3. Okay. So you can just go and check here. This will be by default 3, guys. Okay. So I'll go for MS. MS. Mm, Karthik. India. SAP. Country is India. Say okay. Now the trading partner is something which okay. Trading partner has been now removed as a mandatory thing. Somebody's changed the configurations backend, guys. Okay, so we have now we don't have to give the trading partner here. Customer, we can skip this. We can skip this as well. The order currency is mandatory. Just save it. Okay, so let's go with this process. Let's go with now in the flat file as well. We don't need that. It's not mandatory to go ahead with trading partner and all. But we need to make sure if we are loading it, we have to write the field names. If you are not loading it, then we don't have that. We don't need to have the field names mentioned. So we are very clear that we are not going for that. Okay, so we don't want to go for before this INR and IN. So these two values, we don't want to go for that. So we'll just go ahead. I'll give it as a BMK01. So I've changed that to BMK01 now. Okay. So VMK01 happens to be our flat file. So for this, we need the order currency, that is WAERS. The WAERS length is 5. That's the last field that we have. We have given INR, right? That's a field. So we have these fields, and those are the fields that we have in the flat file. We'll go with the data it underscore when, type standard table of st underscore when, w underscore when, type st underscore when. Now this is the one we have, and after this we'll click on the pattern, call the GUI underscore down upload. So this file will actually, this function model enables us to get the data from the flat file into this particular internal table. So now we can dynamically choose the file name. So for that also we have again a separate function model which we'll be using it. So we'll have right now we'll be using for d colon uh, vmk01 dot txt vmk0, and this is American Standard Code. So this file type is American Standard Code because then all the notepads are of the same type and has a field separator. What was the field separator that we gave, guys? Like it's the tab. So for tab you need to write the symbol as hash. So if you write the field separator as hash, system will understand that I need to separate it wherever we have a tab. So this is how we have to write it here in the program. So in this, where are we uploading the data? We are uploading the data into it underscore when. This is where we have to upload the data from the flat file. So for our understanding, this code which we are writing right now is not required, but for our understanding, let's write let loop at it underscore when into w underscore when. Later we can comment this end loop. So here we have write w underscore when hyphen l hyphen r w underscore when hyphen what was that mm, eKVORG k2kk w underscore when hyphen anred w underscore hyphen name one hmm, hyphen name one. Then we have land one. I think they are good. They're enough. Like they're enough. So we just want to see whether the data is coming properly, output is coming up. I mean, like, are we able to pick up that file and show it in the internal table, store it in the internal table? Is what we just want to check that. Hello. Yes, we were successfully able to pick the data from the flat file and show it on the screen. So this is a step one. Okay, so we have not done much of coding here. We just simply called the GUI underscore upload, and that took care of that took care of the loading of the data into the internal table. Now what we have to do is we have to go ahead and do the recording in the SHTP transaction. This recording enables us to push the data from this internal table to the screens. Okay, so we are going to go ahead into SHTP transaction individually, record, and that recording will copy back into this program, guys. We'll do that now. So we'll go ahead with the SHTP transaction. So in the SHTP transaction, you can record any transaction. If let's say we are using MK01 now, you can use XD01 or FS01 or VA01 for sales order creation. All anything can be recorded here. So we'll record. So whatever screen, whatever details that we are giving, that gets recorded in the backend in this. Okay, and we'll also see that. So go for the new recording. Recording name can be anything. Okay, recording name can be something like DXC when. Now the transaction code is MK01. Start recording. This transaction code should be exactly the same, guys. It cannot be your own. So we need to check what transaction we are doing it for. So then this recording name can be it's your own. It's your choice. Then we'll go for this. We'll go for the recording. We'll go for something like 898900010001. Enter. Title I'm giving it as Mar Naveen, and search term is SAP. Country is India. Just say enter. Customer we're not giving anything. This also we're skipping. But added currency is mandatory. INR we are giving it, and just click on save. So every entry that we have done in that screens is recorded here. If you see here, this from line number 2, row number 2, we have the first screen started. In the first screen, for every screen, this cursor and OK code will be there. After that, what we have, you just see LIFNR, EKORG, and KTOKK. So here also ANRED, name1, SORTL, land1. So these are the values that we have. Then we have to go ahead with the LFM and WIRS INR. So with this is what we are giving here. Okay, so once we enter these details, once we have entered these details, we have just save it, saved, and come back. Now there will be a name for that recording. So DXC1 is the name which we have given there, right? So select that and click on the program, and we'll just copy that into some other program, some second program, which we just need the recording. Okay, recording. So we'll select from transfer from recording, not read from file, transfer from recording. Just say OK, and this is, click on source code and just say OK, say OK. Now this is the recording that we have. We have to start the record. We have to start copying it from 10th row. Okay, so from 10th row to this till this 55th row. Okay, this has come from the recording. Okay, so that one has to be kept here. Now in this, if you see, whatever values that we have given will be coming in the next row. Okay, so here I'll write loop at it underscore when into w underscore when. Okay, so here we need to go for this one. This one is a fixed value. We'll remove the fixed value and we'll give this as work area, w underscore when hyphen lfnr. Now what happens, every time it come into the loop na, so every time it comes to the loop, it gives you a new record here, new value here. Okay, so that's what we want. We don't want the fixed values, we want the variable values which will come from the flat file. So the data is coming from the flat file to internal table. From internal table we are looping into the work area, and the work area values we are passing into the screens. EKORG. So we have EKORG here. Also we'll comment this and get it as something like KTOKK. Here we'll go for ANRED, name one. Let me comment this. Here we'll go for this SORTL. Now here we'll go for land one. Now here we have this WARS. So once it's been done, we need to also take into consideration one more variable, that is BDC REC BDC record. So we need to declare something like BDC just write this. Now, if you observe the recording, in the recording we have BDC Pro and BDC field. So, if you remember, for every perform there should be a form statement below. So, these forms for BDC Pro and BDC field, there are already standard forms, standard forms which we need to copy it here. So we just can go to SE38 and we can go to this BDC REC X1. So we can also browse this. I'll show you how to browse it. No need to remember this. I'll browse it. You can also browse it. I'll tell you that. So we can go to this bottom and we'll have these two forms, BDC Pro and BDC field. These two fields have these two forms have to be copied. You need to copy this at the bottom. So we have end loop. We'll have end loop. Within this end loop, we have to write the logic. So this BDC Pro and BDC field is there now. So we need to define this BDC data now. So if you see this BDC data, this is a structure. So we'll be declaring a work area. So we'll be declaring IT underscore BDC data, type standard table of BDC data, WA underscore BDC data, type BDC data. So this is what we have to give here. And this BDC data happens to be the most important thing right now, which enables us to upload the data. So here we'll go for WA underscore BDC data. We need to change that because we are giving the work area. WA underscore BDC data. IT underscore BDC data is what. Append WA underscore BDC data to IT underscore BDC data is what we have tried here. Same thing for this downward also. So here we have this. So we have this. We've gone for this W underscore BDC data to IT underscore BDC data. So we've done this. Now we have uploaded this. Let's say we have done this. So once it's been done now, so these BDC data and what is this BDC Pro and BDC field, what exactly they are doing. We'll come back to that slowly. But here in this place of no data, we need to give it as space. And go for full stop. So now once it's been done, we'll go ahead with call transaction mk01 using it underscore BDC data mode A update A. So I'll explain you about what the different types of modes that we have, or the different types of updates that we have. I'll explain you that in detail. So because of this statement 130th line, it's called call transaction method, because we're writing this call transaction mk0 and all these things. Because of this reason, it's this process, entire process is called the call transaction process. So here we'll go for because the site underscore BDC data will cover all the values. So I'll explain you this what we have done now once again. Let me first activate this. Now this has been called into this. So if you see here, automatically the values which were there in the flat file are coming into the screen now. So when I say enter, it goes to the next screen, and next screen the remaining values have been entered. Then again it came to the next screen. Nothing will happen here because we have not done any recording for this. Here also we have not done any recording, but here we have given the INR. So INR has been uploaded now, and one record has been successfully created now. That's A17896. We can go into the database table level and check that. So second record also has been uploaded successfully. Now this is three records have been uploaded successfully. We can go and check that in the backend. Now here if we see here this call transaction mk0, so we'll have mode A, update A. So what are the modes, different modes that we have here? Modes would be three types of modes will be there. Modes A, all screen display, E, error screen display, and no screen display. So these are the three types of modes that we have: all screen display, error screen display, and no screen display. So these are the things that we have. So in this, what I have selected is A, means all screen display. That's the reason every screen was been displayed. Every screen I had to enter and click enter. If we select that mode as E, we would have got a screen only, screen will be visible only when there is an error. Okay, and no screen display, no error, no screens will be displayed at all. So if we have no screen display, we need to collect that messages that we have, that gets created in the backend, and we need to upload it into another one. Okay, so we'll do that. So this is what we have here. Okay, now here update, in update, if you see here in update we have there will be two types of updates. One is asynchronous, another is synchronous. So in update we'll have A and we'll have S. Only two options will be there, no other options. Okay, first one is all asynchronous, and S means synchronous. Now what happens in synchronous and what happens in asynchronous? So it's like, now we have S means school. Now in S means school. So in school, I'm just giving you the school example to remember. So in school, if you are in a queue and somebody in front of you stops, okay, you have finished your prayer and you're going back to your class, and at the time, if somebody stops, what used to happen? You entire row used to stop. Okay, everyone used to stop. That's synchronous. So if let's say we have 100 records to be loaded, and 50th record because of some reason has got stuck, then 51st, from 51st record, the records will not be uploaded into the server, into the system. Okay, that's synchronous. Asynchronous is like your college. Okay, if somebody stops, are you going to stop? No, you're just going to bypass. Like, that person will be there only. You're going to just cross them and go from beside. So this is what happens in asynchronous. Asynchronous is like your college. Okay, nobody stops for no one. So if one record has been stopped because of some reason, 50th record has missed loading, then 51st record will be, it skips and goes to the 51st record. Only 50th record have to be adjusted or modified, or you need to fix it. That's it. So this is what we have, synchronous and asynchronous. I hope this is clear. So only these type of options means AEN, these alphabets only are entertained in modes, and A and S are entertained in update. If you give anything else, it will throw an error, it will go to the dump error. I hope this is done. Done, right? So okay, so now we write this call transaction method, and we say using id underscore btc data mode a update a. So this is how we have to do it. Okay, now this is the project is done from till here, guys.